Hello and welcome to the House of the Spirit. Welcome home. Welcome to this collective reading today. This is going to be an open start, so I will get to the bottom of something that I have been receiving. I don't know why. I have been receiving a lot of images and stories, and I think that they're all kind of aiming or leading up to something, but I can't really understand what it is yet. So I wanted to share this investigation with you. And I'm going to have, first of all, a collective approach, but let's see where this leads us today. Okay, let's start with some oracle cards. So what is in the collective? Well, this one, I guess. Very decisive. So what is in the collective that really wants to speak to me or through me, and that wants to come into the light? I think that's it. So I won't force anything today. There's just nothing really is set for today. I'll just go with the flow. Okay. So, borage. Interesting. This is a very common herb, a very common flower. It's very, very useful. It's a very good sign when you have borage in your vegetable garden. You can eat, I think you can eat the flowers. But let me think about it for a moment. So let's see, what else do we have? Originality with Mercury in Aquarius. Isolation with Saturn in Virgo. Idealism with the Sun in Aquarius. So 2 Aquarius cards. Interesting. And Moon in Pisces with empathy. It's very contradictory, isolation and empathy. Originality and idealism. So maybe this collective energy is about having the courage to find new ideals to aspire to, and maybe to understand that to get there you need to kind of retreat in something, so that you kind of get in touch with your own feelings and also with your own suffering. Because borage here is about, talks to us about being brave, but also about facing suffering in any shape or form that it may come. And I am feeling like this is about internal suffering. Although this is a collective reading, I feel like this specific collective needs to hear that in order for us to discover new ideas, we need to face our own inner suffering. And that suffering might be caused by both empathy as well as isolation. So coming to terms with the suffering that comes from both of these. So maybe this collective is realizing that it's like help is not coming. We need to save ourselves. That's what I'm feeling here. And there's this feeling of taking up arms also, maybe because of the sword here, this Celtic sword. There might be this feeling that we might need to kind of defend ourselves, and you see that the sword is leaning against a wall and it has spikes. You can also be on the other side of this wall and understand that you need to fight for your territory, maybe because of the wall. But what's interesting is that this borage here, borage is originated from the Middle East, but it's now very common in all of North Africa and also across Europe, and it grows kind of everywhere. It's very spontaneous. It's also very beautiful, and it's from a group of plants that kind of I don't know why I kind of see the plants that the blooms are facing down in a very, it's like they're more vulnerable. I don't know why. This is kind of a poetic vision of the plant itself. And I don't know if you ever see borage. Usually the blooms, the little flowers, they're facing down. And it always seems to me that like they're so sweet and vulnerable, frail, like a child, or like there's an innocence, because this, like, they're not perky, they're not like showing themselves, they're kind of humble in a way. And it's also interesting that they're kind of fuzzy, so when there's humidity in the air, the little drops of water gather around and it shines like it's a silvery object, and it's super beautiful when the sun hits the little droplets of water. And so I don't know why I'm getting this there's kind of this sideways approach to things that I think that has to be discovered because of the originality and the idealism. I feel like we need to change something in the ideas that we are pursuing. So our own concept of the ideal has to change. What is ideal? What is the best outcome? Has to change. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay. We're going to get also some of these oracle. What does this mean for the collective? Okay, let's start with the fairies. Sorry, I have to check something. Okay, so we have Dark Lady. So something about kind of a coven or an agreement that was maybe done a long time ago. Or in darkness. And then we have Iris of the Rainbows. Maybe something about rainbows, something about the rainbow symbol. And then we have himself. Okay, interesting. Knowledge with nonverbal communication, time and space, generations. And also masters, deepest fears, bravery, temperance, and selflessness. So once again, we have bravery, courage. I feel like there's someone coming in this collective, someone who is a part of this collective that I'm speaking to right now, who is coming forth and is becoming more vocal about an agreement that was made, like a contract that was made a long time ago. And it is a contract that has conditioned generations, many generations, and has limited their scope and their vision, the way they structure their ideas around this agreement. And the symbol of this agreement is the rainbow. I'm reminded of something that is a biblical, I think it's biblical, or maybe it just stems from Judaism, possibly. I can't really tell. And the symbol is the rainbow. So I think it's Noah, something that is related to Noah. The Noahide, Noahides, or Noahide laws. There's something about the ideas. So the way you see, the way you seek more, the way you expand, the framework that you use to move people, to make them evolve into something, right? It's like the idea is the ideal, it's the inspiration. So it's like the rainbow after the storm. Oh, so you know Noah's story, right? It's about a great storm, a great flood. And the rainbow is the symbol of the peace that came after the flood. So when the rain stopped. I'm guessing that maybe we are going to understand something about that specific time. There's going to be something in this collective that is, I feel like there's a discovery, like a scientific discovery that will allow us as a collective to understand what happened in Noah's time. So what is for us like a myth will become history, will become a part of history. That's incredible. It's almost like the Atlantean myth, right? So there are a lot of scientists and interested people who are studying this phenomena, this connection between Earth's history and also civilization's history. Maybe there are some clues there. I'm reminded of Graham Hancock's work, of course, but he's a very there's a lot of taboos around what he's implying. And I think that maybe this reading is about having the courage to see the science, because there's a structure, a scientific structure to this. As you know, Aquarius is very detached. There's a detachment while analyzing that data. So maybe there's the intervention of AI in this specific area that will really advance the way we see mankind's evolution. And maybe this is why it's so, I think that it's going to be kind of hurtful. And you see there's the ruins here. Something about studying a set of ruins. It's like something that sets you apart, that isolates you somehow. And it's also incredibly important that you have the empathy to reconnect after feeling this isolation, because I think that it's going to be maybe something that is going to trigger very deep-seated fears of abandonment and of loneliness. It's maybe this agreement was almost like the thing that was keeping the darkness at bay, but now we have to face that darkness as a collective. And it's going to trigger a lot of fears. We have to be brave. We have to be courageous. And also to understand that we are just... so maybe we're going to understand that we are much less important as a civilization than we previously thought, and that maybe before us there were more evolved civilizations. Yeah, I think they're speaking to us somehow. They want to communicate to us somehow, and it's like, just listen more, talk less, listen more, listen. The Queen of Bows with hair, 10 of Stones with home, or 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Arrows or Swords with frustration, the Ram. I feel like because of the borage here, I feel like there's something happening in summertime. Connected to this new technology. Actually, I think that we already have it. It's just that in the summertime, something is going to come out about that, and it's going to create a lot of resistance, and a lot of people will try to fight it, will try to destroy. And that's why maybe the bravery is here. Yeah, the Knight of Pentacles or Stones with horse. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of drag. Like there's going to be a lot of friction. It's going to try to be torn down. Someone is tearing it down. 9 of Cups with generosity. Okay, 2. The Shaman. This is the Magician. And the King of Arrows with Kingfisher. I'm constantly getting this idea that the collective really needs to focus on the personal and less on what is happening outside, whatever it is. So although there is going to be a really massive shift collectively that has to do with how we apply technology and how it is going to show us something about our own nature that is troubling somehow, or that is going to create a lot of resistance and a lot of attacks. There is this calling that I'm listening with the empathy here to look inside, to really focus on what is below the water and not so much on what is happening on the surface. Because what you want, which is what the King of Arrows wants, this is a kingfisher, is a fish that is beneath the water. And it uses its mind, it directs its mind towards the heart of the matter, let's say. Maybe something in your subconscious also that is going to be triggered. Page of Arrows with Wren. Study yourself. Study it carefully. Study your focus carefully. And don't allow the fears and the triggers to overwhelm you. And I think that it's the structure that is going to kind of be put in question. And that's scary. It's something about like the underpinnings of civilization, the pillars of civilization. They're changing. So it's like the people who are at the bottom holding everything together. You see, you have the 2 pillars and this very interesting structure that is kind of, it looks like it's going to fall because it's rocks that are just fitted together. But it's a delicate balance and it's kept by these 2 pillars. This is a metaphor. So I think that because of this change in the pillars of society or civilization, yeah, it's going to change everything that is put on top of it. And it will require a period of introspection and healing to release ourselves from the dark patterns that have been kind of frozen in time because of this agreement that was made a long time ago, generations ago. So it's not that we have forgotten, because I feel like it's something that's quite present in our current society or daily life even. It's interesting. It really seems like it's something very trivial and something that you kind of like touch every day, that you use every day. Imagine like a resource like water, like fire, like electricity, or electricity, water. I feel like, so this took a turn a little bit. So I feel like there's going, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I think that I have already talked about some sort of invention that is related to water, and it's going to revolutionize the way we see resources. It's going to transform maybe even like barren land into fertile land. And it's very important that we know how to use this. This is maybe why it's so important for us to really evaluate if the intentions are good, because if we are pure and we are strong in our convictions and we have strong morals, it's more difficult for bad agents, bad intentions to penetrate our protection, our dome, our group, our society, our civilization. So we really need to have a very strong set of boundaries around the use of certain things and the access to certain things, so that those resources are only used for good. It's like a sword. If a bad person or kind of crazy person catches it, you don't know what's going to happen, or the worst can happen. But if someone who is righteous, it's like the good king, right? If someone who is righteous and who is, let's say, anointed by God or chosen by God, or that chooses God, someone who chooses the divine as the greatest example, or the best outcome as the greatest example, they will hold themselves up to a very high standard and defend the people who are vulnerable, defend the people who need protection. It's quite interesting. And it's all about a technology that's related to water, the use of water, and the creation of kind of a lush paradise, or at least reservoir of water where there was none. That's really interesting. And it has something to do with this Noah thing, this myth of Noah, where the water, the use of where the water goes. How was that, like, deserted places, how were they in the time of Noah? Were they lush? Some say that the Sahara Desert was a really lush forest once. Maybe it will become a lush forest again. Is it possible? The King of Bows with Adder. So we have the King and the Queen of Bows. I just think that this will be something that will be publicly known. This is not some secret. It's really apparent. Everybody will know about it. It will become a new way of doing things. The Seven of Stones with healing. You know, although this is a collective reading, I keep feeling like the personal decisions are much more important. Like the decisions you make in your daily life are much more important than you realize. There's something really, really powerful in the mundane. That's why I'm talking about a resource like water. It's something that many people take for granted, or although we know that there are entire groups of people who have very limited access to water, specifically drinking water or pure water. So there's something about that, or a resource that we really use every day. The King of Cups with heron. I keep thinking about water, still thinking about water. It's as if there's going to be a revolution in water. And this is not something that I have just bumped into. I don't know why it's coming through me. This change in the water. Maybe, is it something like in our own bodies, in our own water, maybe? Oh. Something that is transmitted through water, like electricity or vibration or frequencies. Queen of Arrows. Yes. Oh. There's something in like the way things are going to be done through water, using water droplets. Maybe there are some frequencies which are transmitted through water droplets. It's like the thunder, right? Like the friction of the water droplets creates electricity. This also may be an innovative way of creating electricity or creating energy. That might be the case, and that also might be why this is a solution for, like, an innovative solution. But it's going to require a great investment. And it's not because it's a very expensive technique. I don't feel like that. I don't feel it's like that. I feel like the investment is in explaining to people how this works in a way that is not destructive. Because I think that it will trigger fear, a lot of fear. The Three of Cups. There needs to be an agreement on how to use this technology. So it's like there was an agreement here. It's something of the past. It lasts for generations. It's obsolete. It needs to be redone. And it's a technology that is so massive. It's such a great change for humankind that it's almost like there needs to be a new agreement about how we view existence. Wow, Two of Arrows with injustice. It's like the beginning of a new faith, it's like a new religion or a new set of rules, a new faith. I also feel like this faith is going to be grounded in a specific language. Maybe it's code, maybe it's something, maybe it's a new currency, maybe. Oh, maybe it's a new currency. that is going to be, it's like the different players, let's say, in this deal, they're going to agree to use a different currency to manage this new resource. And how can we, when is this going to happen? Knight of Vessels. It's very soon. I keep thinking about summertime. Something in summertime. Or earlier. This year for sure. And what is this advice? Where is this taking us to? And what is the advice? Page of Bows with Stoat. I think it's taking us to a kind of a paradise. But there are rules. It's not like a completely free possibility. It's not. I think it's going to unburden us from some struggles that we've been having for a long time. But it's not going to be completely rule-free. Is there any advice? The Six of Bows with Abundance. The advice. I think the advice is to be brave enough to manage this abundance with generosity. To manage this resource with generosity. Wow, the Tower. So, I think that the advice here is also to be brave enough to let go of the past, to be brave enough to forgive, to forget, also to forget about something. To be brave enough to forget. It's like you don't take something that a child says to heart, because sometimes they're just experimenting, and they can be very hurtful. They can be hurtful. They can be kind of crazy making. They can be doing something that they're not really conscious of the whole, the consequences of things. So that's why sometimes you just forget about something. You don't use it against them. We do a lot of stupid things as we are growing up, and if we are held accountable for every single little mistake that we made as we were growing up, we are not even allowed to grow up, because we're constantly being called back into the moment that we made that mistake, and it will even erode our self-esteem or destroy us so much that we can't even evolve from that stage, and we are kept in this childlike, immature period or specific event. Interesting. So we have to let go of something. We have to forgive something. Okay. And what is that thing about? Oh, yeah. The 9 of Arrows with dedication. I think that it's like our own mistakes from the past are kind of haunting us, and we need to let them go. And also forgive the people who didn't understand that there was a better way to do this, because maybe they didn't have the access to the knowledge or the technology, and they weren't quite as evolved in a complete way, in a wholesome way. So maybe they were evolved in an aspect but not so much in another, and they were kind of allowed to be a child. You know, it's not anybody's fault. It's just, if we keep pushing that button, and if we keep living in that past that was hurtful. Because imagine if people don't have access, like, to water, let's say, and they do like really crazy things to get the water. But then there's a technology that comes and gives water to everybody, and it's free. There's no more struggle there. So maybe if you need to kind of forgive your neighbor because he did things to you that were specific to that context. So everyone needs to kind of let go collectively of this. And I think that there was someone managing a resource that was doing a really bad job because they weren't aware that there was another way. And if the shift happens, the power structure will also change. But if God is the highest value, so if spirit, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, is the highest ideal, we will all submit to the truth that is the blessing of whatever resource can save lives or can change mankind's life for the better. So we are all going to have to kind of agree to something, and part of this collective has to forgive and forget, and the other part has to kind of grow up. Sorry for the noise. So yeah, it's a very interesting revolution in the collective right now. I think that, yeah, I thought I would do like a zodiac in the ending, but I think I'm going to keep it here and keep the zodiacs for another reading, because I feel like the message is, it's really just this very strong block that maybe is interesting for the collective that I'm speaking to, and that might like open your mind about certain aspects of your society or of civilization right now, of what's going on in the world. Like every aspect is changing, is being, every aspect of our lives is changing and being questioned by technological evolution and by societal evolution. So it's also quick and it's also fast paced. At least that's my perspective and my feeling of it. So these readings come as a way to kind of help us frame what is happening in a way that is useful for our daily lives and for our projects or whatever. I hope this helped you. Sorry. This helped me a lot. I have many more images coming in my mind, but I can't really be here all day. So I'm going to change the energy a little bit and come back to you very soon. Thank you so much. If you also enjoyed it like I did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope to see you again very soon.